everyone, welcome to another deep dive. You know, cats, everybody loves them, or at least loves to watch videos of them.
Right.
So we're going to do a deep dive into, well, cats.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, and we've got this fascinating excerpt here. A bunch of stuff about cats and, like, their history.
Oh, cool. Like where'd they come from, domestication, all that.
That, and, like, you know how people see them. It's kind of crazy how that's changed, over time.
Yeah. They're kind of worshipped in some cultures, right? Like in ancient Egypt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They had this goddess, Bastet, with a cat head. Can you imagine, like, worshiping a cat goddess?
Well, I mean, they were super important back then. Protecting grain, keeping those rodent populations down. Essential.
Right. From pest control to, like, divine status.
Let's talk about a glow up.
But things get a little weird in, like, medieval times. Cats become, like, associated with witchcraft.
Oh, yeah. All that black cat superstition.
Totally. It's like 1 minute they're gods, the next minute they're bad luck.
I guess it just shows how we view animals says more about us than them, right?
Yeah.
Like our fears and stuff.
That's a really good point. Okay, so let's get into some of these cat facts from this excerpt. Like purring. I always thought it meant they were happy.
Oh, it's way more than that. They purr when they're stressed, too.
Yo.
Or in pain, even.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a self-soothing thing. Some scientists even think those vibrations help them heal faster.
So, like, their own personal healing frequency.
Pretty much.
Wow. Okay, and then there's this whole thing about how flexible they are. Like, how do they even move like that?
Right. Our spines could never.
Seriously. But, like, the source says they've got all these extra vertebrae, like 53 or something. We only have, like, half that.
Yeah, something like that. Makes them super agile. Think about it. It's how they hunt, how they squeeze into tight spots.
And it explains why they can sleep in those crazy positions. Speaking of which, why are they always drawn to the warmest spot in the house? Like, always on my laptop.
Instinct. Remember, they come from desert regions way back when. So seeking out heat is, like, in their DNA.
Makes sense. Okay, let's talk about cats in pop culture.
Oh, they're everywhere. Books, movies, the internet.
It's like they represent something, like this mystery, this playfulness.
Definitely. Take the Cheshire Cat, for example. Popping in and out of existence, that mischievous grin. Yeah. Total embodiment of mystery.
And then there's Garfield. Not so mysterious. Unless you count how he gets that lasagna.
True. But hey, he's lovable, right?
Totally. But speaking of cats and the internet, what's with our obsession with Grumpy Cat?
I don't know. Maybe in a world where everything's like, gotta be perfect, she was refreshingly real.
Yeah. She was like, this is me. Deal with it. And we loved her for it.
Exactly. Okay, but it's not just fictional cats we love. Real cats, I mean, there's just something about them.
Totally. But living with a cat is, well, it's an experience.
Like they have their own agenda.
Totally. This excerpt actually calls it an unspoken contract, which I think is spot on.
Right. They'll give you affection on their terms.
Exactly. And the whole closed bathroom door thing.
Oh, tell me about it. It's like a challenge to them.
It's true. It's funny because the excerpt mentions the study. Apparently, cats do recognize our voices. They just sometimes choose to ignore them.
Classic cat move.
Right. But I guess it's not that they don't care. It's more like...
Like they have their own way of communicating.
Yes. And it's up to us to figure it out.
Exactly. Those tail twitches, the ear positions, it's all telling a story.
It's like we need to learn their language. Speaking of which, maybe we can finally figure out why they love knocking stuff off shelves.
Oh, yeah. Gotta tackle that one.
Maybe in part 2 of our deep dive.
Speaking of mysteries.
Yeah.
We were going to get into why cats are obsessed with the internet.
Oh, yeah. Like cat videos. They're everywhere.
It's its own genre now, right?
Totally. And I, for one, am here for it.
Me too. I can't get enough of those videos.
But why? Why are we so obsessed? It's just a cat, like, doing cat things.
Okay, but like a cat squeezing into a tiny box
Hmm?
or freaking out over a cucumber, it's hilarious.
Okay, true. It's definitely funny.
It's more than that, though, right? Think about it. The world's like kind of a stressful place.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then you watch a cat like chase a laser pointer for 5 minutes, and it's just pure joy.
Yeah, it's like a little mental vacation.
Exactly. A dose of pure, wholesome entertainment.
And it's like, even though it's through a screen, it's still a connection to nature. Sort of.
Yeah. It reminds us that there's this whole other world out there. A world where the biggest problem is deciding which sunbeam to nap in.
So true. Okay, but this excerpt, it also says something like, cats see us as oversized, clumsy companions.
I know. Kind of humbling, right?
Totally. We think we're in charge, but to them,
We're just the big lugs who bring the food and the chin scratches.
exactly. But maybe, like, we could learn from them.
Oh, totally. I mean, imagine if we approached our own lives with that kind of, like, Zen attitude.
That's a good point. What if we, like, really tried to see the world through their eyes?
Right. More napping, less worrying.
And definitely more boxes. Speaking of boxes.
Ah, yes, the box obsession. A tale as old as time.
We're going to unpack that one next. Boxes. The final frontier of cat understanding.
Right. Like, why?
Seriously. Give them a fluffy bed, they're going to pick the cardboard box every time. It's like they're hardwired for it.
Okay, so hardwired how?
Well, think about it. Cats, in the wild, they'd be prey, right?
Yeah, I guess. Even though mine mostly just hunts dust bunnies.
Still, that instinct is there. So a box. It's like instant security. Walls, a hidey hole.
A cardboard castle.
Exactly. Safe space, stress reduction, all that. Plus, you ever notice how they like to scratch on those boxes? Oh yeah, shreds them right up.
Marking territory, getting that energy out.
Huh. So a box is like security system, scratching post, and let's be real, sometimes a chew toy all rolled into one.
Multi-purpose. Plus, don't forget the fun factor. Cats love to play. A box is like instant entertainment. Something to jump in, jump out of, peek through.
And who hasn't fallen for the old bat my paw out of the box trick? Classic. But, you know, for a supposedly simple animal, we sure are digging deep into the feline psyche here.
Right, they're way more complex than they get credit for. Speaking of which, did you know they're whiskers? It's not just for, like, feeling around. It's how they judge space.
Get out. Seriously. So that whole will it fit thing cats do?
Whisker measuring is the thing. They're like little furry engineers.
Man, I learn something new every time we do one of these deep dives. You know, we've covered a lot. The history of cats, those weird quirks they have, why the internet's obsessed. It's really made me appreciate my little feline overlord even more.
Right. Cats are the best.
They really are. So to everyone listening, next time your cat's doing something that makes you go, huh, don't just write it off as weird cat stuff. Think about what we talked about. Maybe there's a method to their madness.
They're trying to tell us something. We just got to learn their language.
Exactly. Well, that's about all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride through the world of cats. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into, well, who knows? The possibilities are endless.